All right, so these are my Week 5 NBA Power Rankings. So let's just get started here. So here's the injuries. The ones in black are the ones that were here last week, and the ones in red are the new injuries. So I'm just going to talk about the ones in red, and you can pause and read the ones in black if you want updates on those injuries. But yeah, for the Nets, Ben Simmons missed all this week, all this past week, and is going to be doubtful for this upcoming week with his some sort of back injury. Matt Ryan is going to be out for 10 to 14 days. He's been a really good three-point shooter for the Pelicans. Bradley Beal just got back. And he's going to be injured for about 3 more weeks. He's only played, I believe, 3 games for them. So he played 3 games and then got injured for another 3 weeks. So not ideal there. Alex Len for the Kings is out for 8 weeks. He hasn't been playing a whole lot, but he's a decent big, so that's going to be a little bit of a hit to them. Draymond got suspended for 5 games. He's already served 3 of those. He only going to miss 2 more games for Draymond. Marcus Smart is injured for about 3 to 5 weeks, so about a month. The Grizzlies have just had so many injuries, and Marcus Smart's been one of their better players this season, so they're already not looking good. They're definitely not going to be looking good without Marcus Smart either. And then for the Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels got injured, and he said he's going to be out for at least 1 week, and it could potentially be even more than that. But yeah, let's go on here to number 30. So we got the Pistons here at 2-13. So what I'm going to do for this week is last week I had the overall stat leaders for each category. This week I'm just going to go over every team's best newcomer for this season. So for the Pistons, they went 0-4 in this week. They lost 12 straight games. But Ozar Thompson, he's been a bright spot for the Pistons this season, averaging 11 points and 10 rebounds a game with, almost 3 stocks a game. So he's doing really good on the defensive side of the ball. His offensive efficiency is not ideal, but that will likely improve. He is right now one of the best defensive players in the league, so that's really, really good to see out of a rookie guard. Number 29, you got the Portland Trail Blazers. They went 0-4 in this week. They're on a 7-game losing streak, but they're only 3-10 right now, so not looking good. But DeAndre Ayton's been pretty solid for them. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 1.5 steals. You would expect him to be averaging more than 12 points a game, but he's not even shooting a whole lot because he is shooting a good percentage from the field and stuff. He's just not getting a whole lot of shots up. Number 28, we got the Washington Wizards. They went 0-3 this week. So all 3 of these teams so far did not win a single game this week. But I got the Wizards moving up 1 spot just because, the Pistons, I moved them down because they've lost like 12 straight games. But for the Wizards, Jordan Poole's been their best newcomer, even though he has not been particularly great either. But they don't have a whole lot of options outside of Koulibaly and something like that. But Tyus Jones, too, has been pretty solid, but I went with Jordan Poole here. Averaging 16 points on only about 40% shooting and only 28% on threes. So not good efficiency-wise at all, but he is averaging over a steal a game, which is pretty good for him. But hopefully he improves his efficiency a little bit. Number 27, I got the Memphis Grizzlies. They are now 3-10. They went 1-2 this week, but then they also lost Marcus Smart. With that, Marcus Smart has been their best newcomer so far this season, averaging 12.5 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, with 2 steals a game. So he's been playing really solid, not shooting the best from the field and from 3, but you don't expect him to be the greatest shooter. His defensive prowess has been prominent this season, averaging 2 steals a game. But yeah, they're definitely going to be missing him for the next few weeks, especially because they don't get John Morant back for at least another, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks as well. So yeah. Number 26, they got the San Antonio Spurs. So they went 0-4 this week. They have lost 9 straight games. So they started off the season 3-2, and they've lost 9 straight games. So that's not a good look for them. And then obviously Victor Wembanyama has been the best newcomer for the Spurs, averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2.5 blocks a game. He's not shooting great at all from the field or from three. But he's still being a really good player this year, and definitely one of the best defensive players in the league as well. Number 25, we got the Charlotte Hornets. They are now 4-9 and 1-3. They went 1-3 this week. For the Hornets this week, their one win came against the Celtics, which that was pretty cool. I didn't expect them to beat the Celtics, but they did, so that's a good win for them. Brandon Miller, has been their newcomer. Their best newcomer. They don't have a lot of newcomers, so he really didn't have any competition, but he's been playing pretty solid, actually, having 13 points, 4 rebounds, and he's not shooting bad, about 46% and 32% from three, which is definitely not bad for a rookie player. Number 24, you got the Chicago Bulls. They went 1-3 this week. Are now 5-10 on the season. They don't have a lot of newcomers at all. It was basically between Javon Carter and Torrey Craig for their newcomers. So I got Torrey Craig here, averaging about 5 points and 5 rebounds a game, and not good shooting. Only 40% and 30% on three. So not good shooting for him, but he has been a decent player. Number 23 is the Brooklyn Nets. So they went 1-2 on the week. They are now 6-7 on the season. Lonnie Walker has been a really good player for the Brooklyn Nets, averaging 16 points per game, shooting 51% from the field and 45% on three. So Lonnie Walker has been a really good offensive option for this Brooklyn Nets team, which is something they are needing, especially without Cam Thomas playing for the last few weeks. Number 22, you got the Utah Jazz. They're 4-9 on the season, went 1-2 this week. So for the Jazz this week, they beat the Blazers, and then they played the Suns twice. They only lost to the Suns by 3 both times that they played them. So they played pretty solid this week, despite only being 1-2, because their point differential this week was still plus 10 at a 1-2 record. So that's pretty good for them. John Collins has been their best newcomer. He didn't have a lot of competition for this spot either, but he's been playing pretty solid, averaging 15 points and 9 boards, shooting 50% from the field and almost 45% from three. So he's been really good offensively for them. Number 21, you got the Toronto Raptors. They went 1-2 this week, dropped 3 spots here, are now 6-7 on the season. So they haven't been playing bad all year. They're just, the Raptors last few seasons have just been, middle of the road team, and that's exactly what they're doing again this year. And their best newcomer is Dennis Schroeder. He's averaging nearly 16 points and 7 assists a game on decent efficiency with 44% and 35% on three. So he's been a pretty good offensive option for this team. He's been a good replacement for Fred VanVleet because, who's putting up worse numbers statistically, but his efficiency is way up from what Fred VanVleet was doing last season. So that's good for him. At the Pelicans, at number 20, we got the Pelicans. They went 3-1 this week, so they had a good week this week. They're now 7-7 on the season. They still got a lot of injury issues there. CJ McCollum's still missing next few weeks. Larry Nance hasn't played a lot. Trey Murphy has still yet to play this season. So they still have a lot of injury issues with this team, and they're actually doing pretty solid as of right now. And Jordan Hawkins, rookie Jordan Hawkins, has been their newcomer of the year, averaging 13 points per game. Pretty solid. He is only shooting 38% from the field, but he is shooting 36% from two. So the majority of his shots are coming from the three, which is why his efficiency is as low as it is. But he's shooting pretty good percentage from the 3-point line. Number 19, you got the Atlanta Hawks. They are 6-6. They went 1-2 on the week. They really did not have any newcomers on this team. They're basically running with the exact same roster, so I didn't have really anybody to choose from. So Wesley Matthews is the newcomer of the year for them so far, and he's only played in like 3 or 4 games, I think. So he hasn't even been playing, but they don't have a single newcomer that's played over 5 games for them. So, Wesley Matthews has 4 points per game on 60% shooting. And 60% from three. Every single shot he shot has been a 3-pointer this season. So that's that. And he's shooting good percentage from three in the very, very limited time that he has played. Okay. At number 18, to the Houston Rockets. They went 0-3 this week. They're dropping 13 spots. So they went from number 5 all the way down to 18 because the Rockets started the season 0-3, looking like one of the worst teams in the league. Then they ended up winning 6 games in a row. So after they were on a 6-game win streak, I respected that and moved them up all the way to number 5, because they were looking like one of the best teams in the league during that 6-game stretch. But then they had this week where they went 0-3. They didn't even play bad in any of their games this week. They lost to the Clippers by 6, to the Lakers by 1, and to the Warriors by 5. So they did play 3 good, close games this week, but they did end up losing all of them. And, this Rockets team, they went 0-3, 6-0, and now 0-3 again. So I don't really have a whole bunch of faith in them to be a consistently good team. So they're going to be sitting around here, around the middle of the pack. But Fred VanVleet has been their best newcomer. Him and Dillon Brooks have both been really solid additions to this team. But Fred VanVleet is averaging 16 points and nearly 10 assists a game. He hasn't shooting great efficiency, only 38% from the field and 36% on threes. That's good from 3-point, but his field goal efficiency has never been good in his career. But I believe this is his career high in assists, so that is a positive point for him. But yeah, that's what I got. Number 17, you got the Warriors. They went 1-3 this week, are now 7-8 on the season. Of course, they've been missing Draymond Green for a few games this week. But, it's not really an excuse because, Draymond Green isn't really that good of a player this season, but he's still a really solid player. But yeah, this Warriors' best newcomer, it was between Chris Paul, Dario Saric, and Brandon Podziemski, or however you say that. Chris Paul is going to get my pick here, even though he has not been great, only averaging about 10 points, 8 assists, 4 boards, 1.7 steals. So those are all decent numbers. His efficiency has just been horrible at only 40% from the field and 33% on threes. So he really needs to get those shooting splits up. And if he can do that, then he'll be a more productive player for this season. Yeah, number 16, I got the Orlando Magic. They're jumping up 4 spots. They're now 8-5 on the year after having a 3-1 week this week. So for the Magic, their newcomer is Anthony Black. They haven't had a whole bunch of newcomers between Anthony Black, Caleb Houston or something. Yeah, so it wasn't really a lot of options, but Anthony Black has been a decent player so far, about 5 points, 2 boards, shooting 51% from the field. Not a good 3-point shooter at this point, but he's still young. He's only a rookie. He has plenty of time to grow into becoming a 3-point shooter. But yeah, their Magic have been pretty impressive so far this year. Number 15, I got the Los Angeles Clippers. So I know they're only 5-7. And they're ahead of an 8-5 team, which doesn't make too much sense. But they had a pretty good week this week, and they started like 0-5 in the James Harden era, but now they're actually playing a lot better. James Harden's numbers are looking a lot better. He was averaging about 12 points per game, inefficiently through the first 4 or 5 games, but in the last 3 to 4 games, he's turned it around. He's averaging about 16 points, 5 boards, 5 assists on pretty good shooting there. So. James Harden is obviously the newcomer of the year because, it's James Harden. And this Clippers team, I believe, I do have some faith in them to be a pretty solid team going forward, despite their early struggles with James Harden. Number 14, we got the New York Knicks. They are 8-6. They went 3-1 this week, so had a pretty solid week. Donte DiVincenzo has been their newcomer of the season. He's been a really solid player, averaging about 9 points, a steal a game, shooting 42% from the field and 38% on threes. So he's been a really solid player for them on the offensive end this season. Number 13, you got the Indiana Pacers. They're going to drop 3 spots. They went 1-1 on the week, are now 7-5, so haven't been bad. They have a few newcomers that have been really important to this team in Bruce Brown and Obi Toppin. Bruce Brown is my pick for the newcomer of the year, averaging about 11 points, 2.5 assists, 4.5 boards on 46% shooting and 39% shooting from 3. So he's been a really productive player for the Pacers so far. Number 12, we got the Dallas Mavericks. They went 1-3 this week, so they're dropping a few spots here, all the way down to number 12, despite having a pretty solid record at 9-5. But they did not have a good week this week. And Grant Williams for them is their newcomer of this year. He's been really, really good, averaging 11 points on 47% shooting from the field and 47% shooting from three. So he has been one of the best three-point shooters in the league so far this season. That's obviously very helpful to the Dallas Mavericks offense, and he's been looking like a really good addition to that team. Number 11 is the Los Angeles Lakers. They went 3-1 this week and are going to stay at the exact same spot at number 11. They had a few people in contention for newcomer of the year in Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, and Christian Wood. Cam Reddish ultimately got the pick mostly because of his steal numbers there. He's averaging 8 points, about 3 boards, and almost 2 steals a game, which is really good. And he's shooting decent efficiency with 42% and 34% on threes. You would like to see those numbers go up a little bit, but he's not playing bad on offense, and he's been a really solid defensive player for them this year. Number 10 is the Miami Heat. They went 9-5, or they are 9-5. They went 3-1 this week, and early in the week they had a 7-game winning streak, so they were doing really good the last few weeks overall. Jaime Jaquez is their newcomer of the year. They don't really have a lot of competition. I believe Josh Richardson is in that conversation, but Jaime Jaquez has been a really good addition to this team. Averaging almost 10 points per game with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Really good efficiency with 51% from the field and 36% on three. So he's been a really solid addition for this Miami Heat team. Number 9 is the Denver Nuggets. So they're dropping all the way down to number 9. You would think the Denver Nuggets are better than the 9th best team, but they have not been playing like it over the past few weeks. They only went 2-2 this week, and specifically this week, they lost to the Cavs and the Pelicans, and they only beat the Clippers by 3, and they only beat the Pistons by 4. So, a lot of close games this week, but you only beat the Pistons, who have been the worst team in the league so far. You only beat them by 4 points. That's not a good look. I think the Nuggets are really missing Jamal Murray right now. And you can see that with who their newcomer of the year is. Julian Strouth, who's averaging 5 points per game, but on 39% shooting and 29% on threes. They just do not have any other newcomers this season that are helping them. And their existing bench depth has not been particularly great either. So they're definitely missing Jamal Murray from this team. And once he comes back, I feel like they'll be back up there as a top 3 team in the league. Number 8 is the Phoenix Suns. So they're 7-6. They went 3-0 on the week. I believe they played 1 game with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the court at the same time, but Bradley Beal's played 3 total games this year, so Bradley Beal will not be the newcomer of the year, even though by the end of the season, I think he probably will be, as long as he can be healthy and play a solid amount of games. But I'm going to pick Grayson Allen because he's been really, really good, averaging 12 points, almost 3 assists and 5 boards on 48% shooting from the field, and 49% shooting from 3. So he has been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league so far. He's been a really good addition to this roster. And once Bradley Beal comes back, as long as Grayson Allen can keep shooting 49% from 3, he'll be a really good addition to that bench lineup. Number 7 is the Sacramento Kings. So they're dropping 3 spots after having a 3-1 week. So it's not really, you wouldn't really expect that, but there's a lot of teams this week that did go undefeated. So that's mostly why that's happening. And they did lose Alex Len for 8 weeks, who's a solid center rotational player for this team. But yeah, JaVale McGee so far has actually been their newcomer of the year, averaging almost 7 points and 4 boards on about 66% shooting from the field. So he's been a pretty solid player for this team, and he should only have an expanded role in the absence of Alex Len. So maybe that will be good for him. Number 6 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they went 3-0 on the week. They're only 7-6. Which you wouldn't expect a 7-6 team to be the sixth best team in the league, but their main group of guys has barely been healthy together, and they've been healthy together this week, and they've looked really, really good this week. So with that, that is why I'm moving them up quite a few spots here. And their newcomer of the year is between Max Strus and Georges Niang. Max Strus has been really good this year, averaging 14 points per game with 4 assists, 6 rebounds, nearly a steal a game, shooting 43% from the field and 36% from the three. So it hasn't been like insanely efficient, but he's been solid efficiency with really good all-around numbers. So he's been a really solid addition to this team. Number 5 is the Philadelphia 76ers. They're dropping all the way down to 5 after suffering 2 losses this week, only having 1 loss in the first 3 weeks of the season and then getting 2 losses in this week is not great for them. And part of that is probably in part because they are missing Kelly Oubre, who has been their newcomer of the year. He is averaging 16 points per game, 5 boards, 1.4 steals, on 50% shooting and 38% from three. So he's been a really good offensive option for this team. They're definitely missing that a little bit with him being gone, and we still don't know exactly how long he's going to be injured. But, once they get him back, they'll definitely be looking like a better team. Yeah, here we got number 4 is the Milwaukee Bucks. So they went 4-0 on the week. They went up 9 spots this week because they had a really, really solid week. Damian Lillard is obviously their newcomer of the year. You don't expect it to be anybody else. Even though he has not been very efficient this year, he's still definitely the best newcomer of the season. They don't have a lot of other options as well. But yeah, he hasn't been horrible. About 25 points, 6 assists, and 4 boards. It's pretty solid numbers. His efficiency has just not been there. Only 40% shooting from the field and 33% on threes. But, it's Damian Lillard, so you expect him to work that out and become about, 45, 38% shooter by the end of the season. So as long as Damian Lillard can continue to bump up those shooting splits, he'll be close to averaging 30 points per game in this offense. Number 3 is Oklahoma City Thunder. They also went undefeated this week. They jumped up 4 spots. They had a really solid week. So for the Thunder during this week, they destroyed the Spurs by about 36 points. They beat the Warriors by 19. They beat the Warriors again by 7, and they beat the Blazers by 40 points. So 2 of their games, they won by almost 40 points this week. So they had a plus 100 point differential this week alone, which is really, really solid. And Chet Holmgren is clearly their newcomer of the year. He's been one of the best players in the league. I mean, not like top 20, but probably been a top 50 player in the league. One of the best defensive players in the league for sure, averaging 3 stocks a game. And he's averaging 17 points and 8 boards on 57 46, 91 split. So he is averaging not just a 50, 40, 90, a 55, 45, 90 as a rookie. So I don't expect him to keep that up, but if he can even keep up close to those same numbers, that's just going to be a historically efficient season for a rookie, especially a rookie center / forward, whatever you want to call him. But you don't see any rookie center forward shooting 40+% from 3. That's just not happening. Number 2 is the Boston Celtics. So they went 3-1 on the week. They're going to jump up 1 spot here. Their newcomer of the year is between Kristaps and Jrue Holiday. I'm going to give the edge to Kristaps Porzingis because he has been really good on offense, averaging nearly 20 points and 7 boards per game, with about 2 blocks as well, averaging 55% from the field and 33% on 3. So he's been really solid. Jrue Holiday has been really good as well, but his offensive numbers just do not compare to Kristaps. Jrue Holiday was only averaging about 12 points per game with not great efficiency, and Porzingis is averaging 20 points per game on pretty solid efficiency. So that's why I gave him the edge there. But those both have been really solid additions to their teams. Here we got number 1 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you couldn't have guessed that. They went 3-1 on the week. They've been really, really solid. They're 10-3. I don't think anybody would have expected the Minnesota Timberwolves to be 10-3 right now. And that's, their newcomer of the year is Shake Milton, who has not been playing great. Only 5 points, 2 boards on 39% and 24% shooting. So he has not been a good player, but this Timberwolves team is basically the exact same roster they had last season, just with another year of development, a healthy Karl Anthony Towns, and some extra time to build up chemistry. They've been playing really, really good to start out this season. I don't expect them to finish the season as the number one seed in the West, but the way they're playing right now, I see no reason why they would not be a top 4 team in the West for sure. But yeah, that's going to bring me to our top performers of the week. Tyrese Halliburton put up 33 points, 7 boards, and 15 assists with 2 steals and a block. So 33 points and 15 assists is insane numbers. He's been doing that routinely all season. He's averaging a career high in points and assists, leading the league in assists. So he's been just insane offensively all season long. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander put up 28, 6, and 5 with 7 steals. So the 28, 6, and 5 is just a normal SGA game. But the 7 steals was a really, really good game defensively. And then he put up 40 points with 7 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. So he had 2 really, really good games within the same week. So SGA has been one of the best players in the league so far this season. Damian Lillard put up 37 points, 4 boards, 13 assists, and 2 steals. So kind of a similar game to Tyrese Halliburton, having 35 or about 35 points with about 13 assists. So both put up really similar games this year, or games this week, I should say. Next, we got De'Aaron Fox put up 43, 8, and 7 with a steal and a block. So any 40-plus point game is just an amazing game. Almost it was kind of close, but not really that close. But kind of close to having a 40-point triple-double. Pretty impressive. Nikola Jokic put up an insane triple-double here with 26 points, 16 boards, and 18 assists. That's a really, really good game. 18 assists is a lot. I'm not completely sure what the assist high for a game is this season, but I feel like maybe Tyrese Halliburton got 18 once, but I think 18 is the highest assist total in a game so far this year. Kevin Durant is next. He had 2 really good games this week. Put up 38, 9, and 9 on 6 of 8 from 3. So nearly a 40-point triple-double. So that's a really good game. And then also, he had 39, 8, and 10 with 2 steals and 2 blocks. So 2 games in the same week nearly had a 40-point triple-double. So I would say it's a pretty successful week for Kevin Durant. Luka Doncic had a near 35-point triple-double with 35 points, 9 boards, and 9 assists. So really good game for him. He's been doing this stuff all season long, so no surprise there. Giannis had 2 really good games this week, 2 40-plus point games in the same week, having 40 points, 15 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. So that's a really, really good game for him. And, in the same week, put up 42 points, 13 boards, 8 assists with 1 steal and 1 block. So he played really, really well this week, and that's part of why they did go 4-0 this week, because you have Giannis on here twice and Dame on here once. So 3 really good games out of your 2-star players is going to lead to a really good record. Domantas Sabonis had 32 points, 13 boards, 6 assists, so that's not insane numbers right there, but he did that on 13 of 15 shooting, and the only 2 shots that he missed were 3-pointers. So he went 13 for 13 from 2, and then 0 for 2 on 3. So a really, really efficient. I believe that's like 85-ish% from the field with a 32-point game was really, really good. And then Jason Tatum put up the weekly high for scoring with 45 points. They also had 13 boards, 6 assists, and 2 blocks. So a really good game for Jason Tatum. So yeah, those are the top performers of this week. And with that, hold on, it's not loading. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to come back next week for an updated power rankings list, and don't forget to check out my NFL power rankings